Hey nerds. A lot of people have been asking me to comment on this topic, and I've kind of been wishy washy about it. I wasn't sure if I did want to talk about it, but I've seen a lot of things on social media and in videos that I think are a bit ridiculous and not necessarily helping the situation. So, for those of you who don't know, if there's anybody that doesn't know, there's a lot going on with Blizzard right now. So everybody's been upset about all of the everything that happened with Hong Kong, and I'm not going to get into that. And then all of the layoffs and the CEO making as much money as the CEO does, as well as content droughts, especially for World of Warcraft. So it's been essentially a year before 9.1 came out from the release of Shadowlands, which is unfortunate, but with everything with COVID and whatever, I'm not one of the people that was really upset about it. Do I think it's not competitive? Of course, but so now it's come to light that the state of California is suing Activision Blizzard for harassment that's happening in a couple of their studios that we know of, California as well as Austin. And a lot of these stories are really sad and really unfortunate. And whilst I'm not actually in the field with a big studio or anything, with streaming and such, I've always hate to talk about this, and people have asked if I would ever do a podcast on it, and I keep saying no because I don't think it's worth it. But obviously, there's harassment and flack for everyone, and it is seen a lot, especially with female streamers, because of other representation or influencers who do things a different way, especially with their content. So, again, I wasn't going to comment on it, but I do think it's really sad. I have actually read some of the stories. I've read some of the Twitlongers. I've listened to some people's videos, and I think what people don't understand is that harassment happens everywhere, regardless of if you're male or female, whatever. And those things are going to be either fixed or broken down internally. Regardless of if Blizzard was working on it to begin with, they're going to have to work on it now. We'll see what happens with the case, but people's choice to not play the game isn't going to affect this whatsoever. And if morally you feel like it's something that you can't do because of everything that's going on and you just don't want to support that and it's your own decision, hey, that's fine. There are many reasons to not play a game. But your choice to not play World of Warcraft, if the reason that you are not doing it is because of what's going on and you think that it's actually going to make a difference and hurt the company, it's really not. Firstly. Secondly, people are so upset about this harassment, and I feel like a lot of people's minds are very skewed. It's everyone assumes that harassment is just male to female and sexual. That's not so. Because the same person being upset about this situation, saying that they can't believe that people would still continue to play World of Warcraft is absolutely terrible. There have legitimately been people who have been commenting on people's WoW videos or in their streams and all of these things, saying that like they're going to dox them and all of this stuff. It's that's still harassment. It's just not sexual. It's still really bad. You're doing the same thing that you're against, and I think that that's really sad and really unfortunate, especially with an MMO, because especially for me being an MMO player for pretty much my whole life, because it was one of the only types of games that I was good at and I absolutely loved, and one of the big things was meeting people, especially World of Warcraft. It's like that was a huge part of my life. It was a huge part of a lot of people's lives. There were like all of these jokes about putting up having to go to counseling because you play WoW too much because you're addicted. So it's huge. It's a big thing. And I think the other thing that people don't really necessarily get is that, well, you can be upset if people are playing WoW, but are you being upset with people playing WoW because of all of these things that are happening? Are you harassing them because of the harassment case, which doesn't make any sense? Or are you already mad about WoW essentially dying and killing itself and all of the Blizzard leaks and things like that. And so you're just taking it out on other people that are still continuing to play the game. Because Activision Blizzard has a hand in a lot of other games. Call of Duty, Overwatch, Destiny 2. Like, are you going to be mad about people playing those games too still? Like, does that mean that they've harassed people? Does that mean they're okay with it? No, absolutely not. And then the other thing too is there are still other studios. There are still people within these studios that are working that had nothing to do with it, that need jobs. Everybody's so upset about people getting let go, but you're making it so that people can't work right now. Or you're taking it out on the people that are able to work and should be able to work and should be able to make a living, and you're making it so that they can't. And honestly, I actually think that Blizzard halting production, whilst it does hurt the other employees, is a good thing. Like, if they actually did sensitivity training, harassment training, got a new HR person in there, that's great. But what people need to realize is it happens everywhere. And the only reason that it's really big right now is because of all of the things that have followed Blizzard recently. It's sad, but it's true. And I'll give you an example. So I used to work for a company where actually the HR manager, the person that you would go to if anything like this happened, was the person who was harassing people. And he was utilizing everybody's phone numbers that he was able to get off of our directory in programs, and he was sending people like nude pictures and videos of like himself and his boyfriend and all of this stuff. And it's like, who do you go to? And then if someone asks you, especially as a guy, and you're not comfortable with everything and you don't really know how to talk about it, so there were a lot of people that didn't even bring it up because they didn't know how. They didn't know who to talk to. They didn't know if it meant something about them as a person, if they brought it up and said that they didn't like it. And so it was this whole thing, and we actually also closed down the business for about a week to get everything straightened out, get all of the details in the documents. And there was actually a court case as well, but things were being worked on before that. And as much as I hate to say, I don't like to take sides for anything, especially in this case, because of it being so sad. But if Activision Blizzard is saying that they were already looking into precautions and something slipped through the cracks with how big they are and how many people they have in their studios, it could have. Or people just didn't tell the higher-ups, which is actually what had happened in our business. The higher-ups didn't know until it was too late. But they were already trying to work on it before there was even court cases involved, and it was multiple people, and it was really sad. And they fixed it internally. But people not coming in to purchase the product or getting out their pitchforks against people who did purchase our products, even though it was told, like, it was public that all of this was happening, like, that's not going to change anything. So I guess the moral of what I'm saying is everybody commenting on it, unless they're being asked their opinion, and everybody that's slandering other people who are still working for the studio and not leaving because of the harassment, because these people need a job because they still love what they do, or slandering or harassing people that are still playing games that are under the Activision Blizzard umbrella. It's not the same case, but that's just as bad. It's still harassment and it's still wrong. So whether or not you continue to play the games, whether or not you continue to follow the controversy, whatever you feel about it, you're probably not helping if you're doing those things. So I guess my big thing is I think it's really unfortunate, especially being a woman. I was going to say girl, being a woman in the industry, because I've experienced it and I've talked about it on stream, and it's obviously something that's going to happen, and it doesn't necessarily bother me, but it is good to talk about. And obviously it wasn't to the same extent, but it does happen. But it doesn't only happen at Blizzard. It happens everywhere. So stop acting like this is just this huge Blizzard, does something wrong again. Like, no, that's not what's happening. And if that's the way that you're viewing it, that's so wrong. And it doesn't even do the people that are victims of this any justice. So I haven't played any Blizzard games, honestly, in quite a while. I hadn't played anything other than World of Warcraft since the Shadowlands expansion actually dropped, and I think I played that for like 2 weeks and got bored. But it didn't have anything to do with anything except I just didn't feel like playing, and I'm not really big into shooters, so I don't play Call of Duty. I loved Overwatch back in the day, but I got really salty about PvP, so I stopped playing it. I've never really played Diablo, a lot of other things, but that's my personal choice. And have I quit a game because I didn't like it for other reasons or because of other people? Yeah, absolutely. But I wasn't quitting the game to make a statement. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess at least try to have some positivity and a positive mental attitude for the people who still need a job, who still love what they do and love the company that they work for. And hopefully they can actually still get work. And let's just hope that these things get resolved rather than trashing the company and trashing the employees of the company and trashing the people that play the game. So, yeah, I think the other thing I really like about all of these things is everybody keeps posting these videos and saying, "Oh, they're not going to be monetized. There's going to be no ads on this. I'm not making any money from this." And it's like YouTube still puts ads on it, by the way. So just keep that in mind. If you don't know about, YouTube algorithm and things like that, definitely send me a comment because I would love to actually help educate people. There's so much misinformation out there about everything. Like to quote Teapot for Guild Wars 2. So if you like the content, I don't know if this is even really content. It's just like kind of my point of view on some things that I think are kind of nasty. Subscribe to the channel. I actually do a lot of Guild Wars 2 stuff. I do a lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews. I stream essentially every day on Twitch. And actually, my fiance and I have just started our own little game studio in our apartment. So we're actually working on tabletop stuff. We have some characters already up on our website, which I'll have in the description. And we also have a full tabletop setting that we're working on as a big PDF. We've been writing essentially like a fantasy novel, which is kind of on hold for everything else that we're doing. And we're also working on a PC game, and we'll be working on apps as well. And I'm employing some people, which is what we need. This is what we should be focusing on, getting people jobs, getting them out of bad situations and bad environments, and having the environments be good and having a positive attitude. So, yeah, I'll see you guys at the next video. And if you watch the whole thing, thanks for listening.